So guys, the Blue Jays continue to win ball games. 3 straight for the Blue Jays. They open up the 4-game set against the Seattle Mariners with 3 straight victories. And like I said at the top of the last video, A's fans, you're welcome once again. They won today against the Tigers. The Jays beat the Mariners. We're helping you guys out. All the power to you the rest of the way. Go kick some rear end in the playoffs. It's going to be an amazing time for Oakland A fans. It's going to be great. Anyways, the Jays, they win 5-1 over the Seattle Mariners. And coming into the ball game, the statistics did not look too great. Marco Estrada on the mound for the Jays, and he really has not looked well over the last little while. Obviously, his first start off the DL was not so good. And even before the DL stint, he wasn't all that great either. ERA of like 4.90 coming into the ball game. Really not all that great. James Paxton on the mound. Last time he faced the Blue Jays, which was at Rogers Center, he threw the no-hitter. This might be a recipe for a disaster game for the Jays. But the Jays show early on that they're not going to go out quietly. You know? And in the top of the third, Brandon Drury strikes out to start the inning. Then Kevin Pillar doubles to left field. Great to have him back. He ends up at second. Next batter, Randall Grichuk. He singles to left field. Pillar ends up at third base. And we got runners on the corners for Devin Travis. And on a wild pitch, Grichuk moves up to second base. And now you've got second and third now with only 1 away. Next batter, Devin Travis. He hits a single to center field. Pillar and Randall Grichuk come in to score, and just like that, with a clutch 2-run single from Travis, as we saw yesterday, the same thing, the Jays have the 2-0 lead early in the ball game. And that wasn't a 2-run single yesterday, it was just the RBI single yesterday, but nonetheless, an RBI single, 2-run single to get you the lead in the ball game, and you're up 2-0 after 3 innings. We go to the top of the 5th inning. Aledmus Diaz up, and he gets a ball in the inner half and crushes it deep to left center field, and it's gone. His 4th home run on the road trip. 13th on the season. It goes 395 feet, and the Jays have a 3-0 lead. This is fantastic. You know, and let's move all the way to the top of the 8th inning, guys. Where, they bring in a new pitcher, obviously for James Paxton, who goes 7 strong innings. Kevin Pillar, it's an infield single to third. Literally an infield single as it hits, it's a little dribbler down the third base line. Kyle Seeger decides, I'm going to leave it, and it hits the base. Pillar ends up at first on the play. Next up, Randall Grichuk pops out to Gene Segura at shortstop. Then Pillar steals second. And then on a wild pitch, Pillar moves up to third base. Then Travis walks. Now you've got runners at first and third now with only 1 away. And Justin Smoke singles to right field. Kevin Pillar comes in to score. Travis up to second. And the Jays have a 5-0 lead. A 4-0 lead at this point. It just gets even better. And then in the bottom of the 8th, obviously, Marco Estrada, up until this point, through 7 innings, has a no-hitter going, and we're all thinking, he went 6 1/3 of no-hit ball, and then he gave up a double, and that sucks, but it's the way she goes. The Jays try to fire him out there for the bottom of the 8th inning, and he walks the first guy in 4 pitches. John Gibbons gives him the hook, brings in Ryan Tepera, gives up a couple hits, and then a sacrifice fly to the pinch hitter Herman, however you want to pronounce it. And that makes it a 4-1 game. You know, then we go to the top of the 9th inning. Aledmus Diaz rips a ball down the left field, I wouldn't say left field line, but it was in that area, and he ends up at second on the play. Next batter, Brandon Drury, on the first pitch. He doubles in almost the identical spot that Diaz just ripped it. It's a double for Drury, an RBI double for Drury, and the Jays got that 1 run right back, and it is a 5-1 lead. This is great. The Jays score 5 runs on 12 hits. Everything's going great for the Jays in this one. Everything's going great for the Jays in the series so far. But Marco Estrada is the story of the ball game. Goes 7 innings, giving up 1 hit, 1 run, because Ryan Tepera the one runner he inherited, which was the leadoff walk, came around to score. So that was the one run to Marco. Struck out 4 and walked 2 guys. He gets the win. He's now 5-8 on the season, his first win since mid-June, and drops his ERA about almost 30 points to 4.65. Did Marco Estrada. I thought he was dynamite. The ball was down. He was mixing his pitches well. That's the key for Marco Estrada, and it's a key for Marcus Stroman as well. I kind of compare them to a little bit because they work the best when they're in the lower half of the zone. If you see a Marco Estrada changeup kind of up in the zone, that's a recipe for a disaster. It was down. He was mixing at pitches. He was doing great. And he just got through 7 solid innings, guys. And the bats were on fire. We'll get to them in a second. Ken Giles came out in the bottom of the 9th inning to close it out. No safe situation, obviously, with the fourth run, or I guess technically it was the 5th run, but they had the 4-run lead with the Drury double in the top half of the 9th inning to get out of that safe situation. But Giles comes in, hits the first guy he faces, gets to the next batter, then throws a wild pitch. He's up to second. And a base hit from Nelson Cruz, but a terrible read from Denard Span as he goes back to second thinking, okay, it's a line drive. It could be caught. But then he has to go to third. No way he's making it home. Runners at first and third. Next batter, Kyle Seager. It's a little dribbler. I wouldn't say it was kind of a soft hit to third base to Brandon Drury. And he fires it to second to Diaz, who was actually, they're in the shift, right? So he was covering the play. And he does a great transfer and a money shot to Justin Smoke to just narrowly get him at first base to end the ball game. Ken Giles, you see him being fired up, and Jays fans, I know. Houston fans, you guys can say all you want about Ken Giles, and I know the tenure he had there, you guys hated him. I don't know if he enjoyed his time there. Yeah, he won a World Series, but that really, it doesn't work for some guys. For Jays fans, we know we love energy when it comes to players. Guys, we love Jason Grilli. Why? Because whenever he struck out a guy to end an inning, that guy lost his mind. It was amazing. We loved it. For Ken Giles, seeing that double play and seeing him get jacked up for his team and, atta boys, way to go. Like that's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. Now, I know he's going to have some down times. He's not going to be pitching the best all the time. But what we've seen in the first 2 outings, we've seen that he can throw the curveball for strikes. We've seen that he can really mix it. You see how devastating his slider is when it's on. But you can see how good his stuff is. This is only his second game back from, he hasn't pitched in the big league since I think it was the beginning of July. So give him a little bit of time. I mean, he looked better today than he did in the first game. You gave him game by game, and he's going to improve. Great job there with the offense, guys. Randall Grichuk stays red hot. He was 2 for 4 in the game with a run scored. He's hitting now 235 on the year, guys. Remember when this guy was hitting under 100? Yeah. Now he's hitting 235. What a great job there. Devin Travis was 2 for 3 with a couple RBIs. He stays red hot. He's now hitting 248 on the year. Smokey 1 for 3. He's hitting 251. Russ Martin continues to swing the bat really well. He was 1 for 4 in the game, average up to 197. Very close to that 200 marker. And the bottom of the lineup did their job. Guys, remember back when we won in 2015, 2016? The bottom of the lineup like Goins, Pilar, and other guys like that. They were so dynamite at the bottom of the lineup. It turned the lineup over to the big guys, and then they just tore everything up. The Jays' bottom of the lineup today combined for 6 hits. Diaz went 2 for 4. Drury went 2 for 4. Pilar went 2 for 4. And then it turned the lineup over to Grichuk and Travis 1-2, getting the jobs done. It was a beautiful game for the Jays. Diaz raises his average to 254. Brandon Drury to 169 on the season. And Kevin Pilar up to 248 on the season. Great job by the Jays to come out and get the victory. Like I said, 3rd straight on the road trip, I guess. And guys, if you look at the road trip as a whole, in Chicago with the White Sox, in Oakland, and in Seattle, as of right now, the Jays were 2-1 against the White Sox. And then they lost all 3 to Oakland, so they were 2-4 at that point. Now you've won 3 in a row. You are 5-4 on the road trip so far. At the very worst, you'll have a 500 road trip in Chicago, Oakland, and Seattle. Not bad at all. I'm impressed. I love what we've seen from this team. But you know what we're seeing differently? They're showing effort. other than Solarte, who was terrible once again today. That's all we want to see, is a little bit of effort, and we love it. Jays fans love, even if you lose, but you fight your hardest and this team plays hard every single night. Beautiful. I love it. The Jays look for the 4-game sweep tomorrow afternoon, or I guess it was technically here, it's kind of in the early evening, 4:10 first pitch in Seattle. Once again, guys, Jays fans in Seattle, you guys are nuts. The Blue Jays invasion is in full effect. I think there were 40,000 people there today. Probably about 20 to 30,000 were Jays fans. It's beautiful. I love it. I love Jays fans. I love the way they show their support, especially since they're out west, and seeing all the support out there. It's fantastic. And it could be translating in the Jays actually playing good ball. We're going to have to wait and see what happens tomorrow, though. Sam Gaviglio on the mound for the Blue Jays versus right-hander Mike Leake for the Seattle Mariners in the finale before the Jays have a day off. Day off. What the heck am I even saying? A day off before they welcome in the red-hot Boston Red Sox to the Rogers Center on Tuesday night. So that's going to be one heck of a series. But first off, tomorrow night, evening, whatever you want to call it. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoy this video, and you guys have enjoyed this series so far. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below, guys. What'd you think of the game? What'd you think of Marco Estrada? And the key to the series so far, guys, the pitching has been on point. You gave up 3 runs in Game 1, 2 in Game 2, 1 in Game 3. That's amazing. 6 runs in 3 games for the Mariners. The Jays have stymied them and looked really, really good in these games. All right? So let me hear what you guys have to say about this team as a whole, what you've seen as of late, and we'll talk to you guys, will it be Monday podcast? Actually, it'll be Monday afternoon podcast edition. Link is in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes, guys. Go check that out down below. And Twitter is down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. I got 2 baseball games tomorrow. So we've probably finished about 11 o'clock. So it'll probably be, I wouldn't say this late, but it'll be 12 o'clock upload, guys. I apologize in advance for that. But I'm just giving you guys the heads up now, all right? So Sam Gaviglio is on the mound for the Blue Jays. Looking to get a good outing out of him. He's been rough as of late. Mike Leake on the mound for the Seattle Mariners. 4:10 first pitch at Safeco Field. I know the Rapper fans call Air Canada West in Detroit, but it's Air Canada West for the Blue Jays out in Seattle and Safeco Field. Like I said, 4:10 first pitch as the Jays look for the 4-game sweep. That would be amazing. We'll talk to you guys then.